Hi class, this is week 5 journal entry, and we are talking about testimonies and how it's very true that I think testimony is so important. Literally, the word says they've overcome by the testimony and the word of their testimony in the blood of the Lamb. So, like, if you can hear someone else's story to encourage you, whoop, you're on to the next. You're like, Lord, did you say that for me? Like, So I'm going to share my testimony. Long story short, I went to a regular university my first year of college, and I decided that I was going to be a business major, do my thing, businesswoman, all this stuff. And literally my first semester of college, I was like, well, dang, I know I don't follow the Lord that well, but like I still love the Lord and want to do the best I can. So I decided to go to just like a short ministry thing that they had for kids that wanted to do, still stay involved with something in their faith while being away from home. And literally by the time I got to December, the Lord told me to go to Free Chapel College, which is now an extension site of SEU. And that's the same church that I got saved in. And it's the church that I felt like was my home at the time. And like there was no other church greater than that. And I remember deciding that I was going to go literally halfway through Georgia State of my freshman year. And I was like, man, Lord, like, okay, but I trust you. But I was afraid to tell my dad. And I was afraid to tell my dad because he wanted me to be a big businesswoman. He wanted me to travel the world and see all these things and do all these things, and wanted some kind of picture for my life. And his faith really isn't, I guess, as faith-filled as mine was. So it was hard for me to come to him and say, hey, going to a ministry college, yay. Like, the support just wasn't there. The first thing that happened was he laughed in my face and he was like, so how are you gonna pay for it? Is God just gonna make money fall out of the sky? And I said, he's God, he can do it. And then I went into my dorm and I cried my eyes out because I just was like, Lord, I want to be great. I want to be the greatness that you have for me. But like, this is hard. Like, my family is not supportive except for my mom, but no one else understood it. Everyone else laughed. And I did it anyways. I went to Free Chapel College for 2 years. I actually, because of SEU being an extension site and because of my family living in Florida, I was able to actually go to school and be debt-free and go through the 4 years, graduate my bachelor's, and this is literally my second to last class. And I will be able to be done with my bachelor's in 3 years instead of 4. And I was in a ministry program for 2 years where I have met my now fiance, where I've met tons of friends and wonderful people and shaped my life and had turned it to actually live for God, and not just love God, but to live for him. And I still struggle with things and it's still hard, but God was in the works throughout all of it. But really specifically in that moment, that decision, because I care a lot about what my family thinks. I really care about what authority thinks. So any of my leaders and my parents, I take their words probably, if I look up to you, I will take your words very, very to heart, I guess. And it was hard going to this and feeling like no one was going to support me except for one person. But God had my back and God had a plan. And God knew what he was going to do for me and help me out. And I met Jesus the right way, in the true way. I genuinely surrendered my life to Christ halfway through that school year, my first year there, and met God in a completely different way. I met the loving kindness. I met the goodness and faithfulness and holiness that he brings in his presence. I got visions, I got dreams, I got all of these different things. I was like, Lord, you are so good. And it was all because I said, okay, God, I hear you telling me to go here, and I'm not really for sure, and this looks completely different from what my plan was, but like, I love you enough to try. And here we are. And my testimony is still going. Honestly, I got engaged on Saturday, So that is even a whole testimony. And if anyone's interested in hearing that side of that testimony, I'd love to share. And I'd love to hear everyone else's testimony as well. So I'm super excited to hear everybody's and go through them. But gosh, praise God that we overcome by the word of our testimony and the blood of the Lamb, because man, is it good. Praise God for that.